So, Peter Jones is speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point, and it is very close with Stanley Unwin, Clement Freud in the lead, just ahead of Peter Jones and Kenneth Williams. And Kenneth, you've just started. Peter, it's time to hear from you again. The subject, potatoes. Will you tell us something about that in just a minute, starting now?
I wish this were called Just a Second, because I don't really know a lot about potatoes. They belong to the same family as tomatoes. The same...
Clement Freud challenged.
They don't. Yes, they do. They have the same sort of leaf. They are...
They have the same sort of leaf, but
they are related.
Anyway, Clement Freud was correct in his challenge. And so he has the subject of potatoes with 52 seconds left, starting now.
One of the very great dangers at the moment is rhizomania, which is a disease which attacks potatoes and is exported from Holland and other continental countries in the earth surrounding the tuber. I could have said potatoes because it is the word on the card, but I've chose to use another...
Kenneth, you got in this time with a challenge. And 33 seconds for you on potatoes, starting now.
One of the very nice ways to have them is in the jackets, put in the oven, giving them about an hour, say. They're awfully good if you sprinkle a bit of cheese and black pepper on the top. Now, King Edward does come out of this very creditably. The new, on the other hand, are best from Jersey. Now, I find the floury content in them most delectable. On the other hand, people say to me often that they would rather have something more tough.
Clement Freud challenge.
Hesitation.
Yes, more so Clement, you've got in with 4 seconds to go on potatoes, starting now.
Mashed potatoes are probably my favorite way of eating them. You rub...
So Clement Freud told us quite a lot about potatoes, also speaking as a whistle when gained an extra point, and we go from one subject concerned with food to another, and I'm sure this is especially for you, Clement, because Ian Messert has come up with the subject of Roman Dormouse cooking. Will you tell us something about that in just a minute, starting now?
If you...
Kenneth Williams.
Hesitation.
Oh, no, I think that was a bit too sharp.
Definite hesitation, I thought.
Yes, you heard it too, didn't you? Yes, he
How do you
hesitated. He
How do you hear a
where
hesitation?
he was. Look at him.
No. With an unwritten rule amongst the regulars, they are allowed to get underway. Even Clement Freud is, in spite of his brilliance at the game. So there was only 3/4 of a second there, actually, and we've still with Clement Freud on Roman Dormouse cooking, starting now.
If you have to eat a Roman Dormouse, cooked would be my favorite way. Boiling, steaming...
Peter Jones, a challenge.
I think there was an over 3/4 of a second pause there.
Yes, I would agree with that one. Yes, he'd made his point, and the laughter was not as long as he expected. 52... 52 seconds for you, Peter, to talk on the Roman Dormouse cooking, starting now.
Well, being a vegetarian, I'm not terribly interested in cooking dormice.
Kenneth Williams, challenge.
Hesitation.
There was an there. Yes, Kenneth, so you want to talk on this subject, obviously, because you've been very keen to get in. There are 47 seconds on Roman Dormouse cooking, starting now.
When I mentioned this to Stanley Unwin, he said to me, rise in the early morn with a waiting thoughts of clarity in the Milo, trip open that very quickly, ancient Grecian Sparkus, where the wax or Ulysses, stuff it in the eardrobe in order to pass the siren safely. And that is the best way, he said, to cook a dormouse. And you do it with hay, all in a box, with plenty of warmth all round, and in about 3 or 4 days you will find...
Stanley Unwin is challenged.
Hesitation.
Repetizione.
Repetizione, what of?
Well, there was all this fundamental of speak it, which is now
Yes.
comprehensive my eardrobes.
Yeah, that's right. He did say phobolobe more than he did repeat that, didn't he?
Yes, the connection was there. Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
right. So, Stanley, you've got him with 22 seconds on Roman Dormouse cooking, starting now.
Well, the humanization of the abattoir for decapitation of the dormouse, especially the Roman variety, has to be considered first. But if you open a baked potato, to which was just referred, you put the dormouse in with a sprintload of cheese for it. This brings out a very fine fillet, you see. And...
Well, with a little help from his friends, Stanley Unwin kept going till the whistle went, gained an extra point, and he's actually ahead of Peter Jones and Kenneth Williams, but he is trailing Clement Freud, our leader. And Stanley, we're back with you to start. The subject is classical music. Would you like to tell us something about classical music in just a minute, starting now?
For classical music, which is a broad subject, I would like to choose a composer named, I'm going to say, I've forgotten his name. And he was an Italian who was born at Trapani, and his name was Scarlatti. Now, Scarlatti, a classical composer, had 2 sons and a daughter, and the daughter's name I've forgotten for the moment, but it's not all that important. But it does underline the point of the classical music and what it can lead to. The son was a violinist.
Peter Jones is challenged.
Well, first of all, he hesitated because he couldn't remember Scarlatti. And then he repeated Scarlatti.
Yes.
And then he went off Scarlatti altogether and talked about something else. So I think he's got a triple challenge coming.
But I'm afraid I can only give you 1 point for your challenge, Peter.
Hardly
but you
worthwhile.
have the subject now. So, Peter, will you tell us something about classical music with 21 seconds left, starting now?
Yes, I've got used to it in the last few years. I didn't used to listen at all, and now I'm absolutely...
Kenneth Williams challenge.
used.
Yes.
Really?
I got used to it and didn't used to listen.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. I didn't know Kenneth was paying attention to what I said.
Oh, you never know what Kenneth's getting up to when he's sleeping. There we are, the 15 seconds on classical music for you, Kenneth, starting now.
Well, of course, it was Stanley Unwin who introduced me to one of the most interesting, Monteverdi, and he pointed out that the sostenuto, and especially when attenuated, is hauntingly lovely. I felt that very deep.